Welcome back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got another episode of the Not So Perfect Podcast. I am Matt Chinn, as always, with
Gerardo Carne Asada.
Carne Asada.
Gerardo Cornejo here.
If we're asking Siri, it's always calling Gerardo Carne Asada. So yes, welcome back.
It is August. August is pretty much almost over.
School started.
Yeah, started and it's
routine.
just summer. Our official summer with the kids is done and back to routines.
Yeah. How they been so far?
They've been excited about waking up in the mornings. The youngest, Marley, is loving school. She was built for school.
Excited to wake up in the morning.
Yeah. Jacob has his alarm at 6:15, and we'll see how 2-3 days so far, and so far so good. But we're going to bed early. Everybody's in bed at night, and it's everything's just falling into place again.
Well, I feel like that comes from practice, patience, and discipline from said parents.
Yeah, we're we don't feel like rookies anymore. And speaking of some other parents that are rookies, they're like, what the heck is this line? And over here and over there, and I got to do this, and what packet, and I got to look at a folder every day. Yeah. So parents, just hang in there. It's you'll figure it out.
It gets easier, right?
It gets, yeah.
Just have more kids, it gets easier.
Yeah, more kids, it gets easier.
Yep.
Mom, but there's so much fun, and they just change so much every year.
Yeah.
Every year's change, growth, but growing with them, talking a lot with my oldest daughter, and like especially right now in the beginning of school, because she likes knowing the tea.
Because she's the teenager. She
is the teenager. Yeah. Okay. Pretty much 12, 7th grade, middle school. So as we remember, in middle school, everything changes. We go from kids to teenage to almost adults are being treated like adults.
Yeah.
And phones are now there even more than ever. So.
I was reading something yesterday that some schools have, I can't remember if it was a school thing, it was a school thing, because before this school year, a lot of the public schools is who I was hearing this from, they were just leaving it up to the teacher to decide on what your policy is with phones. And then this year, a lot of the public schools have gone to, I don't know if Missouri is more of a national article I was reading, it said, that they all have to put their bags or their phones in these bags that they lock magnetically, and then when school's over, they go and lock it and they can pull their phone out.
What? I know we had a no cell phone at all policy at Blair Oaks put in place, and of course it bothered some parents, and they were like, I don't think the government should decide when we can talk to our kids or not, yada yada. I don't know if that's a government decision. But
I feel like that's a school board decision.
Yeah, school board, but I guess now our kids are more active, and we do have the option for communication with them. So why can't we communicate with them? But our parents love dropping us off in school because there's no way we could communicate with them.
Well, and if you did, it was via the principal, which
via the principal or nurse.
Usually wasn't a good sign.
You were a principal. I had to go to the nurse and be like, "Mom, my stomach hurts."
Called, it would be problems. Not a good call you want made home.
No, it's a big deal that you don't get to talk to your kids, and we never had that option.
Well, and that's so not having kids being on my side of that discussion. What is it that's so important that your mom needs to text you at 9:30 when you're at school trying to get smart, okay? What is so important that needs to go through a text message or a phone call through a cell phone as opposed to, if there's an emergency, just call the school?
Yeah. That's the way we're wired now. We're wired is the answer. We're wired.
It seems very ridiculous that that's an argument.
But not just with parents, it's just the kids attached to their phone.
Well, that's the thing. They're already hooked. You've already got them hooked on the drug.
And then now texting within them. My oldest is not allowed to have any numbers on her phone. She can only use the Facebook Kids Messenger app, which all the parents get to see, and we get to. There's nothing kind of hidden there from us. Yeah. So we avoid all that, but it's just a communication between them. Pictures. I've heard pictures is a scary thing within that world. So.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Yep. Couldn't imagine.
Yeah, so that's what as parents we get to deal with.
Yeah, that's week one stuff, huh?
Week one.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, in my opinion, for my 2 cents, for whatever it's worth, I feel like kids don't need to be on phones at school. think you need to keep it
Like, well, now they stay after school. We got to go pick them up. They got tryouts, practices.
Well, I mean,
so
if you're at
communication
school, if
for
you're at
that.
school to learn, that's one thing. But if you're going to cross country practice, or if you're going to baseball practice right after school, then yeah, you get your phone. Use it whenever you
Maybe
need
they should make it an option where, like, hey, put your phone in here and you'll get $1 by not being on it till after school.
I don't know. It seems like that would be a money could be spent elsewhere, maybe towards like paying teachers more.
Oh yeah, so there we go. We're just coming up with solutions.
Boy, I feel like some teachers.
We're just coming up with solutions.
If these kids are leaving school every day with $1 and times X amount of students times how many days, when those teachers are barely getting by. So, hey, I think it's one of those things where it's like a Band-Aid. You just got to rip it off. You know what? Yeah, you guys are used to your phones. You're addicted to your phones. You can't spend 5 minutes without checking it. That's a problem. So what do we do with problems? We try and fix them, Now, does it need to be the patting on the back and always we're going to get through this, you can go 10 minutes without your phone, or do we just rip the Band-Aid off and say, all right, 8 o'clock until 3 o'clock, there's no cell phones. Because guess what? Everybody's fallen in line, and now they all know the rule. It's not, everybody except Sally or everybody but Billy, because Billy's mom wants him to always have his phone on his hip,
Interesting conversation to be had with, but then again, it's like the government and then the school board. You can't just please everybody.
Well, you can't please anybody, whether you're in the government or whether you're at school
True.
or whether you're at work.
True. Yeah.
And that's life.
Yeah.
And that's what these kids need to understand, that, you're not always going to get your way. Things aren't always going to go the way you want them to. You're not always going to be right, and that's okay. But whenever they've never been taught that or shown that or disciplined to the point where you're telling them no, they're not going to learn and they're not going to grow from that. So,
and it was funny. You asked me that day, you're going to come back with a puppy. I was like, no, you got to put yourself in situations where you train yourself to say no. No, we
not
want.
the easiest thing to do when you're at the.
Because now Stacy came puppy to see the puppies with us at the lake. They all had puppies, and I'm like, we all want them. I was like, no, heck no, absolutely not.
No, and it's just, again, it's always hard the first time, but it gets easier the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time. So guess what? This first week of school, it might be a big problem for people not being able to not be on their phones all the time. But give it a week, give it a month, give it 2 months. Like, no one's going to remember. I forgot. Remember when we used to have phones in school? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We could probably have a whole topic and debate on that alone if we wanted to. But
oh, yeah. We'll leave that to the school boards.
Leave that to the school board, to the elected officials on the board.
Well, one thing I did want to talk about was, but you said routines. So, back into getting to routines, and now it's like I lost some weight before summer started. Of course, it's always the ideal thing to do. Maintained it off.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about summer with the kids. Maintained it off. And I've been proud that it stayed off, but I didn't make it to like, I'm gonna lose another 10, I'm gonna lose another 15, whatever. So now I get to get back into that grind of locking it back in. So why is it so hard to just stay locked in all the time?
Because comfort's easy. Because comfortability is easier than grinding every day.
Oh, you got to want to grind it every day. Because I even barely like 100 push-up a day accountability that me and Mike are doing at the office. He's been on it, and I'm just like, not today. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll catch up. Hey, I knocked mine out. I'm gonna start today consistently. 2 days go, and then the third day I'm just like, I'd rather just sleep in.
Yeah, well, it's because sleep is easier.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing about that, is just when you're developing routines, and this, I'm just speaking from my experience only. Everybody else is a little different, but for me, I don't need wiggle room, because I'll take full advantage of the wiggle room. So if I know every day I've got to run, I've got to work out, I've got to stretch, I've got to do all my stuff, I just do it. If it's like, hey, you can take 2 days out of the week and skip, that might turn into 3. That might turn into 4. It does turn into 4. It might turn into a week. You know what I mean? So for me, if I know there's no slack given, it keeps me on the routine better.
And that's what I'm having struggle figuring out. Like, there is no in between. You're either doing it or you're not.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
for the results that you might get in a year.
So let's just say, for example, let's take the example you used earlier. You and Mike, you're doing the 100 push-up challenge today. Okay, so how many can you do in like one go? Like 20, 25, 15?
Let's say 25. I can knock out 25.
So are you that busy that you don't have time to do 4 sets of 25 push-ups throughout your
Not
day?
that busy. Just that lazy.
Yeah. So again, it's just that little mind switch, you know?
Oh, and then like once you get started, I was like, all right, now I got to finish. Like,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
easier
All
than I
you got
thought.
to do is start. Because if you start and you get to 50, you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be, Mike pop in, like, do your 100 halfway.
Maybe start now.
You know what I mean? So
there's a hack for those falling out of that routine.
Well, and the other thing, even if it's something simple as like doing it with another coworker, you know what I mean? Just there's accountability there. You know, do you feel better knowing that you're going to walk in today, knowing that you didn't do your 100 push-ups yesterday when you saw Mike do all of his yesterday?
Yeah.
You know, so again, it's just that accountability of like, well, I don't want Mike giving me any shit today because I didn't do mine yesterday, so I got to start today. You know, and use that. You know, it's not like it's a negative thing, but internally, it's going to help get you on the path of, all right, let's just do it.
And it wouldn't even take me 5 minutes to do that.
That's my point. Like, how long does it take you to do 25 push-ups?
Yeah.
Maybe 30 seconds?
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, okay, so you don't have 2 minutes of your day to devote to that. Like, listen how ridiculous that sounds.
I shouldn't have brought this up.
Listen
Stop.
how ridiculous that sounds when you say it out loud. Now, internally, you can make it all make sense and you can prove how busy you are by looking at your schedule or your calendar for the day. But when you start saying some of the stuff that you give yourself grace for out loud, you're like, that doesn't sound
get in our way
in my head. You know what I mean? So again, just talking through some of that stuff, verbally speaking it out. If you speak out loud all the time to your entire team that, all right, I'm doing 100 push-ups today, everybody, keep me accountable. As opposed to just internally thinking that, you might have your sister, you might have Mikey, you might have Chase, you might have whoever come in and be like, where are you at on your push-ups? So again, just having people around you that are helping keeping you accountable as well.
And
as
I don't like people checking in on me like that, so that's why I like doing it. Do it like it's been done.
Yeah.
Now what? What's next?
I had, so just give an example of that. I have a client that I think it was this week he mentioned it. Maybe it was last week, but it was recently. And he started out as a big guy. He's 400 plus pounder whenever he got here. And he's never worked out. He's not familiar with any of it. He's never, it's never been a big part of his life. Sports, not so much, past a certain age. Mm-hmm. So for him, this is all brand new, So we had to start from bare basics. And this has been probably about a year now, probably 10 months to a year we've been working. And he's finally hit the point where the weight is starting to really fall off because we first had to develop all of his strength that he just didn't have.
Okay.
And he was carrying around all this excess. So now that he's got strength, he's got the strength to support his body weight, whether we're doing planks or push-ups. I mean, day one it was leaning against a wall doing a plank that way for 30 seconds, and it was like asking him to climb Mount Everest, And just this last week, he was saying, you know what? He's like, I am feeling sore, but it's not a bad sore. It's a good sore, And whenever you have those moments where maybe you've struggled your whole life with your weight, being too heavy, being too small, being not strong enough, being whatever it is you're battling or whatever you've been going against, when you start seeing that scale adjust in the direction you want it to go, when you see those pants that you've been wearing forever that are no longer fitting properly, that's external motivation for that person, So I had to tell him for the first, 6 months, like, trust me, stay the course, stay the course, because I've said this before, don't quit 30 seconds before the miracle. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of keeping coming back. And now we're at the point where he's asking to do extra days. He's wanting to get a 4th day in if he can, or a 5th day if he can. Instead of coming in at 9 o'clock, he knows if he comes in at 7 a.m., his phone, he doesn't have that phone as hey, I got to take this call. I'm just going to step outside real quick. So again, it's one of those things where, hey, I know you're a busy person, and I know a lot of my male clients specifically, like if they don't get their workout in before 8 o'clock, it's not going to happen because the phone starts ringing and they've got, they run companies, they run businesses, they oversee people. Like the phone starts ringing and then there's excuses, So it's one of those things where he's not just coming in at 7 o'clock now, he's getting here at 10 till 7, where before I'm on
Dude,
my way.
That's
I'm on my
life
way.
changing.
Yeah.
That's changing your life.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I mean, it's awesome to see it, and that's why I love what I do. I get to help guide these people through their journeys, and not just guide them, but then I get to see the look on their face when they're down 25 pounds, when they're the lightest they've been since they were 20 years old. You know what I mean? Like life changing stuff, and he's starting to see it trickle over into his other aspects of his life. So instead of being out boozing all night, he might called an earlier night than what he would have done, because there's been days where he just can't make it in because guess what? He stayed out too late, and that's not just picking on this one guy, but this is the one that he's made the biggest jump the last probably month, 2 months, just because he's starting to see the progress like for himself.
It's not worth it. This is more worth it.
Right. And now, not just being 400 plus pounds, but carrying less weight, but being probably 2 times as strong as he was when he came in here, So it's starting to click for him, and for everybody it takes however long it takes, Was he as serious the first 6 months as he's been the last 6 months? Probably not, but that's part of the process, You may mess up, you may stay out too late and drink too much the night before. Now we've learned something.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we need to try and do that less and less, and it's starting to sprinkle over into his life, and he's starting to feel a little bit better about himself, his spouse, and all that stuff. So it's a win for everybody. If you look better, you feel better, you're more confident about yourself, and you
get to perform better.
That fills over into your other aspects of life. So, I guess the important question to ask yourself in terms of how do I get motivated, how do I get back on track now, I was disciplined at the end of school year, and we kind of let the summer go by. I didn't get bad, but I didn't get any better. How do I get back in that mode of just wanting to grind. Well, it starts real simple, It starts by doing that first push-up. You can't get to 100 if you don't do number 1, So what I tell people all the time, and what I have people say all the time is, boy, I did not want to get in here this morning. I was tired. That bed felt real comfortable. I was kind of sore from yesterday's workout, but I remember anytime I show up here feeling that way, I always leave feeling 100 times better, So we always have that self-doubt. I have that self-doubt where it's like, fuck, I just don't want to do it today.
Yeah.
But again, you just get started, and if you get the ball moving, it's easier to keep that ball moving. But it's just that initial getting it over that hump and getting yourself up out of bed, splash some cold water on your face, and just get your push-ups, your sit-ups, your squats, your whatever you're doing done.
And it's always good to get somebody to help you to get motivated for it, and accountability. But you got to do this on your own.
Well, and that's the thing.
Nobody else is going to do those push-ups for you.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm your guide. Like, I can't. If I could put that bar on my back and do the squats for you, I would. But it's not going to help you. It'll help me. It's not going to help you. So, take for example the gentleman I just had in here, my new client. Okay, he's in his 60s. Had a pretty hard life, He's had some surgeries in the arms and shoulders and biceps. Done manual labor most of his life, so he's got tight everything. We spent 35 minutes on the foam roller, and that was about as hard of a workout as he was expecting. You know what I mean? Like, he did not think that a foam roller would bring that much pain, or just bringing to light just how tight and how locked up his legs, his hips, his glutes, his lower back, all that stuff is. And
which that's usually how you feel. You should feel in your 60s is what we're trained to feel like.
Yeah, and he told me last night he was waking up in the middle of the night with Charlie horses in his hamstrings, and that's usually a sign of either being too tight, or a combination of being too tight and too bound up in your legs or your lower back or wherever. Lack of hydration, so not enough water, And then it could be an aspect of just his diet and nutrition. It could just be eating really poor, to go along with not drinking enough water, to go along with not doing any stretching day to day. So even with him, like, we spent 35 minutes on the foam roller, and we did like 15 minutes worth of exercises, but he got more out of that 35-minute foam rolling session than he would have gotten if I was like, okay, well, we don't need to stretch, we don't need to do any warm up here, we're just gonna go right into heavy bench press, heavy deadlift, heavy squats. Like, told him from the beginning, we're not going to do anything heavy until I know your form's good, your form's perfect, until we start adding to it, So, again, easing people into it. And again, if it's people that really haven't worked out a lot, chances are everything on their body is going to need to be stretched and massaged and rolled out pretty regularly for the next probably 2 weeks straight, just to get your body back to a baseline.
And did you tell them that's what you guys were going to do the first day? Or was like,
yeah.
We're just gonna foam roll.
Well, I told him the first day I was like, we're gonna just work on some basic stretching.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some just basic technique stuff, just so I can kind of see where your hamstring flexibility is, your hamstring range of motion. I want to see how low you can squat without any weight. I want to see if your toes are shifting out in your squat with no weight, because usually whenever they do that, that means you've got backsides of your butt aren't fully developed. So you're so tight as you squat, your hips are turning your toes out. So that again just shows me, okay, well, we need to work on some inner thigh strengthening, outer thigh strengthening with your abductors and adductors. So I tell them, we're not going to do a whole lot of lifting on day one. Not unless I know. Now, if it's someone that's been working out consistently, they need something different, or they're wanting to do a level up, just from what they've been doing in the gym every day, that's a little bit different story.
Yeah,
but if
but
it's
he hasn't
someone
been in the gym
that
every
has
day.
not been, and he told me, and whenever I talked to him the first time on the phone, we talked for probably about 25 minutes about what do you do every day? What kind of exercise or activity are you doing every day? Well, I work and I lift and I move a lot of stuff every day. I'm like, that's good, but like outside of work, what do you do voluntarily that's going to help with flexibility, range of motion? Are you doing push-ups, sit-ups, body weight squats every day, like just simple stuff? So I always like to find out what they're coming in with, So that always helps me out, just kind of knowing where we need to start.
Yeah.
If it's someone that's already kind of been in the gym and they want to just spice it up to that next level, come and see me. We can usually skip a lot of that stuff. We'll still touch base on some of it. We won't be as in-depth on 35 minutes on the foam roller, 20 minutes on the PVC pipe stretches with the shoulders and biceps.
Jeez.
So like I said, all that being said, we did all that, and all we did was squats, deadlifts, rows, and push-ups today. Those are the only 4 exercises we did. And we just did them one time through. But we spent the rest of that time doing our stretching, which is what he needed more than anything else. Because for him, we need to address that before we can start pulling and pushing and doing some stuff with heavier weights. So, it's all, we're all motivated by different things, but find out what yours is and just lean into it. If you need that accountability, find someone maybe in your neighborhood that you can work out with, or go for a walk first thing in the morning before the kids get up. Even if it's just in the neighborhood, start developing healthy habits. And now if the kids are going to be in school from 8 to 3 every day, your excuses for not being able to do that because summer mode is now over, you got to reinvest in yourself. Because again, if you're doing everything for your kids and you're leaving yourself out, eventually that's going to catch up to you, and then you're not going to be in a good spot.
There's so many things. I'm like, dang it. All the excuses that I've had.
Fire.
Right?
What kind of excuses you got?
Yeah, all of
them.
them.
What do you got?
All of
What's
them,
first
man.
and top of the mind?
Well, I was doing a lot of walking in the mornings. 5:30, boom. I was out the door by 5. My shoes were right outside the door, boom, I took off. But then my knees started hurting because I was like, I'm using the wrong shoes. And then I was like, I'm not going to spend money on shoes this summer. I'll just buy them in the fall.
I'll catch them on sale.
I'll just catch them on sale in the fall, which I get killer discount. My buddy that hooks me up. But that's an excuse, and I haven't walked. My knees have stopped hurting. But then again, like, what else? What else? Now your body's not moving as much. So where else are you making that up for,
Yep.
So, I've swum a few laps around the lake Ozark, but that's not enough. It's not a daily thing.
How many laps around the lake?
I swam from the dam all the way to, no, I'm just kidding. We swim to the bottom and back up.
Yep.
100 feet of water.
No, but it's just, it's just the routines are something that's important, and again, as much as you love your kids and you want to do everything you can for them and put them first, it's the old saying, you're on the airplane and the oxygen mask come down, you put yours on first, and then you can help other people, So parents, you gotta take care of yourself, and you can't just, you gotta have the right motivations to want to do it, And I always tell people, like, look, get in a routine, stick with it, because you're not just changing, how you're going to be the next month. You're going to hopefully change how you're going to be doing the rest of your life, So if you're not familiar with a lot of daily activity, whether it be exercise, walking, cardio, whatever you want to do, it's just going to be harder to maintain things the older we get.
And is it like a 7 times a week routine that we need to do?
What I tell myself is, and this is just what I do for myself, is something every day. Do something challenging every day. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's, I don't have a lot of time today, but how about we do a 5-minute plank? You got 5 minutes, try and hold a 5-minute plank, and say you make it 3 minutes. Okay, well, tomorrow I got to make it to 3:10. Next day I got to make it to 3:20. Next day I got to make it to 3:30 or whatever you need to do. But just have a goal, and there's always times where we can go back and reset goals. Like, just take what you were saying at the beginning of the podcast with, I was doing really good last year towards the end of the school year. You and Stacy were doing your dieting, you're doing your morning workouts, you're very disciplined in doing that. And again, you have your wife there that's willing to do it with you. So there's an accountability there. So again, lean into that, because there's days where you don't want to wake up. Well, guess what? I bet there's days where Stacy wakes up and she doesn't want to do that shit either, But if you guys are like, hey, how many more times are we going to snooze? Like, we need to do this. Like, if we just get up and get it done, it'll be over with, And
I don't even snooze. I just turn it off.
Yeah.
And
I don't want a snooze option. I just want it to go off.
And then I'll deal with it later.
Yeah, so I mean, say you were, just think of that when you were doing last year at the end of the school year, and then summer you kind of took off, but you maintained where your weight was, didn't go up, didn't go down, but you stayed where you were, which is, kind of a test just to see.
It was a test for me, absolutely,
stay, because it's easy to overeat and be down at the lake and maybe have that dessert and maybe, just doing those things that you're not used to doing, whenever your diet was super strict that you guys were doing there back then. But the thing about that is whenever you're, let's say once the summer hit, things didn't go quite the way you wanted to, or you had a plan and it went off course. Okay, well, now that school year started, sit back down at your desk. All right, let's redo that power list. What are 5 things I'm going to work on from this point forward? Maybe one of them is going to deal with getting smarter every day, reading something new every day. Okay, listen to your podcasts of the guys that you really respect. Maybe another one is, all right, my physical. What do I need to do every day physically to keep myself in check? And that's not saying you got to spend 9 hours in the gym.
Right.
30 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. Like, you can get, based on the time frame you have, I could schedule something where you're going to be absolutely exhausted and you're going to want me to never send you anything ever again. But again, if you've got 5 minutes, I can figure something out to make it super hard 5 minutes. But again, and doing those challenges that are going to be hard and challenging and it's things you don't want to do, that sense of accomplishment when you do wind up doing those things, eventually, finally got my 100 push-ups today. It only took a week, But again, that's progress. Because for a week you struggled with it, or however long you struggled with it. But the day you finally do it, it's like, what was I worried about? I just did 100 push-ups. Mikey, what was I so worried about? You know what I mean? Like, we have these little mechanisms in our brain that can teach us to shy away from the tough stuff because we like comfort. It
is tough.
Yeah.
It is tough. And it's not that tough. But did you die? That's where that comes in. But did you die?
Yeah, that's what I text all my people after we do our long runs. I'll text some of my clients and I'll send them a screenshot of the run we did. And, the last one we did this past weekend was 12 miles. Send them a screenshot. Good news, ladies. Nobody died.
Nobody died.
You know what I mean?
No, and look, nobody died today. You got 5, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. You got there's some motivation right there.
Yeah. Well, and again, I leave those up there because when people come in here, they're like, hey, what's my goal today?
How many did he do?
I don't know. Do you want to be like Bill? Do you want to be like Susie over there? Do you want to be like the top dog over there who had 5 tallies, So, hey, you tell me. It's your workout. You push as hard as you want.
And I love that's a community that you've created too, and I like seeing these fitness communities because shout out to Karen and Eric, what they built over there. It's back to accountability. Just find your tribe, We've heard that a lot. Find your tribe or those communities that help you keep going. Like Matt here in itself, and now they're all coming to look at their board.
Prime example. Look at Saturday morning. Me and my buddy Chris, we went up to Columbia for the final Heart of America training marathon run. So they do 3 training runs along the way just so you get familiar with the route. And we're not running that marathon. We're running some different ones, but they allow us to tag it, jump in there. It's a running community, so they, hey, more the merrier, But when you got to run 12 miles at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, guess what? If there's nobody else showing up there, the odds of me doing that get a lot less, But whenever I know I got my buddy waiting on me, plus God knows how many people are going to show up for this run, and there were 30 people there for that run.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. But again, it's that accountability, it's like, yeah, I know I've got people waiting on me up there, so it's like, you want to pussyfoot around and just take your time, or get in the goddamn truck and just go. Like, yes, it sucks, you're not really excited right now, but guess what? As soon as you get moving, you've got an hour and 40 minutes to chat with your buddy, see what's going on with their life, suffer a little bit together, and then when you're done, I feel so much better. Granted, I might be sore, I might be tired, or limping my way across the finish line, but the point is just having that community of people around you to give you some external motivation, so you're not relying solely on internal motivation. And that's the other thing too, like, if you can recognize that you don't have that internal motivation, you need the accountability. So maybe you do call a trainer. Maybe you do have somebody in the neighborhood that'll go work out with you 3 days a week, So, I mean, it's one of those things where you just have to know who you are and be okay with that. Mm-hmm. Like, I know there's days where I'm not super excited, so I'll jump in a workout with another guy that I have that's working out in the morning with me, because that's going to push him, because I'm going to be right on his heels the whole time. So he's going to be knowing that the gas pedal is not going to be taken off at all throughout that hour. But also I get my workout in too, So, I mean, lean into what works best for you. It's not always a cookie cutter for me that's going to work for you, that's going to work for Stacy. But it's just lean into what lean into what, know what your downsides are, and try and shy away from those. Don't put yourself in those situations where I'm going to lone wolf this thing, even though I have zero internal motivation to do any of this stuff. Or maybe you don't know maybe you're not a big gym person, so you don't know even the first place to start. Well, you're probably not going to have a good success rate if you're just kind of throwing some stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, So lean into stuff that you're not as good at and figure out ways to get better at those,
I saw a reel today that said the gym membership is cheaper than therapy, than going to therapy weekly, daily, however many times you need it,
Absolutely.
And then it goes into the coaching and mentoring world of it all. There's a reason that's a $1 trillion industry, because there's people better than us. We hire people that better than us. And on the podcast I was listening today with, surprise, Peter Crone was on.
Yeah, there we go.
It was, is it expensive or is it expansive? Will it help you expand your life and make you better?
Absolutely.
Or is it just expensive, because it does cost that much. Of course, the way they were talking about it is the way this other level of humans shop for jets. Like, are you buying the one that's kind of fast, or the one that's super fast? Or the one that can carry your whole team and you can get stuff done, be expansive and get stuff done? Or you just want to save a little bit of money and you're going to kind of get there, but you're not being able to be expansive.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard him say that. That was a pretty cool thing to process.
Well, what I would say is, if you have a gym membership that you don't use, that's an expense. Mm-hmm. Now, a gym membership,
that is expensive.
Now, a gym membership you take full advantage of, that's gonna trickle over into your life outside of the gym too.
Yeah.
If you can develop a manner of living that's going to be disciplined, regimented, and whatever it is, if you're working out every day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, it doesn't matter what the number is, but if you're dedicated and locked into whatever it is that you need to do, that's going to trickle over into how you approach work. Because if you've only got an hour to get your workout in the morning before you got to be back home, get the kids ready, take them to school, and then go to your job, that's gonna form that discipline in other aspects of your life, not just in the gym, not just when you're on the treadmill, not just when you're doing bicep curls. So just having that drive to just always keep getting a little bit better, that's gonna trickle over into your other life too. Where again, that's that expansive. I'm not just looking at it like into a corner here where it's just going to be helping me just because I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to get faster, I'm going to weigh less, but outside of that, it's not going to help me in any other way, Incorrect. If you're constantly driving to get better and better and faster and stronger and lighter or whatever it is your goal is, that discipline carries over into work, into your kids, into your stress levels. So maybe if you didn't get that workout in that day and your kid comes home and he's had a tough day at school, maybe you don't have time to hear that today. If you only knew what my day was like, well, you're talking to your kid.
Yeah.
He's 8. You got different priorities and different issues that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and your kids don't care about that.
No.
They want you to be there for them.
Yeah.
That's part of your job as a dad or a parent. So if you get that workout in, maybe you've got the time to sit down with your kid and he can explain to you why he had such a tough day. If he got picked on or bullied or left out or picked last or whatever the topic is that 8-year-olds or kids, they go through. So I think it just makes everybody a lot more patient, a lot more tolerant, and a lot less amped up in terms of their stress levels, because if you get a good workout in, that does great things for you physically, but it does great things for your brain in terms of like, if you got a full load of waste that we need to get rid of after every day, that workout is like draining all that out. All right, fresh start. Now we're good.
Because you can either drain it out at the end of the day or prepare your brain to handle all that in the beginning of the day.
Yeah, and it's always easier to do it in the morning because guess what? Work doesn't start till 8 for most people. So guess what I tell people? If you're that busy of a person, and there's people that are, and that's totally fine, I need to see you at 6:30 a.m. every day or however many days you're wanting to come in. Because as much as I don't mind them having to take a phone call in the middle of an appointment, I do mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my time's valuable. If you're going to spend 30 minutes of it on the phone, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Is this a commitment or is it not? Is this, you don't have 1 hour where you can give me, because guess what? If you're coming here 3 times a week, I only see you for 3 hours out of a full 7-day week. So what else are you doing outside of that? Because good chances are you're not doing anything extra. You know what I mean?
It can wait. And again, the better you get, the better you train yourself. Like, this is the hour that I don't interrupt. So you're more efficient on this time of the day. And then it's all you time. And then you're more efficient on this time of the day.
Let's say you come in here at noon to just do a quick workout just by yourself. You're going to do some push-ups, you're going to do some squats, you're going to hit the speed bag, whatever. 1 hour, okay? If you do that at noon, chances are your phone's going to go off probably 5 to 10 times in that hour. Okay, and every time you hear that vibrate or feel the vibrate or hear the ding or whatever, you're distracted, you're stopping, you're going to look at it. If it's 6:30 in the morning and your phone doesn't go off until 8, you got 6:30 to 7:30 of just all you. So whether that be you doing all the things you need to be doing. So let's say at noon you're looking at that phone 5 or 10 different times because you're getting texts, phone calls, whatever. Let's say at that hour you're getting 40 minutes in. Well, how much better could you be if you got 60 minutes in, at 6:30 in the morning?
That's what airplane mode is for, baby.
Yep, and that's what we're on currently. Yeah, so I mean.
But then there's an excuse in our brain. But what if it's an emergency? What if the school's calling me and we're trained now to just check,
Yeah.
and that's why a lot of my notifications are turned off. I can't even wear a watch.
All my stuff off.
I can't even wear the watch.
I don't get any notifications on my watch. None of it.
No, it's really cool just planning like 1 hour at a time. Here's what I'm going to do for this hour. And people know if there's an emergency, who to call.
Yeah.
And thank God I have a partner to do life with, and she's got my back. So she's able to receive those calls when she knows like I time block so much.
Right.
On that, that's helpful.
Yeah, no, it is. And again, if it were easy, everybody would be doing it, So if it's a matter of, well, that means I got to wake up at 5 a.m., I can't do that. Yes, you can. You know why? Because a lot of other people do it.
And that's
I'm going to be super tired.
Yeah.
You didn't think that this commitment was going to take sacrifice? It all takes sacrifice. And if that means you sleep an hour less, guess what? Go to bed an hour earlier. Like, you don't need to stay up till 11 o'clock playing video games, or you don't need to stay up till midnight
watching YouTube,
scrolling on YouTube or your social media, or, I wait till the kids go to bed so then I can do that is a waste of brain space and sleep time.
Yeah.
That if you're going to complain to me about sleep, you better be knocking off all that other unnecessary stuff, Now, if you're listening to a podcast or something on YouTube, guess what? Put your earbuds in and go work out and listen to your podcast, So, yeah, these things take sacrifice. And if you want to be better than yesterday, you got to make those sacrifices, in whatever way you need to. Maybe yours is kind of backwards. Maybe you can only work out once you put the kids down at 8 o'clock. So from 8 to 9 o'clock, that's your time to work out. Maybe your wife goes and does her thing in the morning. Maybe she gets up at 6, does a little home workout, or maybe she goes to a spinning class or whatever. But again, that's coordination amongst your spouses and the kids. But it's also one of those agreements that you guys have to do. And what do those agreements take that we all fail at more than we need to? Communication. Yep. So again, being on the same page with your spouse. Hey, Tuesday I got to do this early, so I can't do my spin class. You can do your workout then. I'll do the workout at night. Meanwhile, you can take the kids to XYZ. You know what I mean? So
And choosing to help each other too.
well, don't work against each other.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Like, why wouldn't you work with your partner?
Yeah.
As opposed to working against, you know? So, but again, it takes that communication where a lot of people shy away because it gets uncomfortable and I don't want to get her upset and I don't want him to get mad at me for, you know, we're not mind readers. So if you guys aren't communicating, it's very hard to get on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, and even if it's just you two getting on the same page, let alone Marley and, you know, all the kids that got all the stuff they got going too. So again, guys, just have those communications with words. You know what I mean? Like it just get on the same page. And again, if you're not used to having those conversations, the first time it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It might be hard. But guess what? If you do that and practice it regularly, it doesn't get hard. It gets easier.
And it's it's always checking in. Stacy just did her body composition, and it's all right. Here it is.
Yeah.
Now tell me what result you want, so I can help you out with it. As little it's easy communication like that. You know, like tell me what you want your result to be, so I can be there to support you and help you out for that.
I can keep you accountable. You know, if you're wanting to lose weight, and we're at dinner, like we'll both be eating the salad and the chicken. You know what I mean?
Protein and veggies.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard. You know, it's hard finding that balance. It's hard finding that, you know, finding that will, that determination, that internal motivation to not just want to do something, but to make that first step, whether that be just pushing yourself up off the couch or rolling out of bed where you got your shoes sitting right next to the bed. So you got to put them on and go do your walk, or put them on and go do your little downstairs basement workout, you know? So
just start. Just start slow, start fast, just start.
Well, if you're doing nothing right now, something's better than nothing. You know? So, I mean, even if that starts with your diet, even if that starts with cutting out sugar, even if that means upping your water intake, like there are so many different levels and so many different aspects of health and wellness. You can start really anywhere. You know?
I've been trying to cut dairy out. You know, I've turned into a coffee fan. Started with the lattes, 16-ounce caramel lattes. Load them up. So then it's like a 2-ounce espresso shot with 12 ounces of milk, and I was killing 2 a days. So then I went to 12-ounce lattes, and then I went to
the 6-ounce.
8 and 6 ounce, and then I was like 6-ounce cappuccinos.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm doing Americanos, which are espresso and water.
Yep.
It tastes disgusting, but now I'm adding caramel into it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there it is. So again, trying to figure it out so I could still get the coffee it just makes me feel good. It's one of those things that just makes me feel good.
Same here, brother.
Does it take the headache away? Does it give me a boost in the morning? It just makes me feel good. And it's like, how do I just not lose that feel good? You know, but we adjust it. You know, I haven't had to give it up completely. Now it's like less, like 60% off drinking Americano compared to a latte.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like, you didn't do that on day one.
Correct. I'd say it's been like 2 years of drinking coffee to get to that.
Yeah, you
this
tried,
one where I wanted to be at.
You tried, you failed, you switched things up, you tried, you failed, you tried, you failed, you switched things up, you tried, and now you're getting to a point where, you know, and that's just talking about coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, majority of the people drink coffee, you know, but if you're drinking a Starbucks 64-ounce mocha frappa latte with sprinkles and whipped cream and all that, like, how about we get that size down? And once you get that size down, how about you just keep it a little bit simpler?
The healthiest in that is ice, and maybe who knows how healthy that ice is.
Yeah.
But that like, not that milk is bad, not that dairy is bad. It is for me.
Yeah.
Figuring that my body can't get rid of dairy. It's just like I hang on to it. I'm bloated all the time and all that. So again, figuring out, talking to people, just getting help, getting the tools to figure that out.
Yeah.
And now it even lasts me longer now. The coffee.
Amen.
I don't chug the cappuccino, so shout out to my favorite local coffee shop, 3 Story. You take care of me every day.
Shout out 3 Story.
Yeah. But we wanted to hop on, and I told Matt, it's like, hey, the routines have started, but why do they finish? Is always my problem. I either start too soon in the season. I just have never been like continuous.
So I'll kind of add on to that with what I talked a little bit about earlier. So you're looking at it as seasons. Okay, good times, the bad times, the hard times, the hot times, the cold times. I don't give myself seasons. So I don't have, well, if I just make it to March and I can, I'm off for the summer.
Today is the only season.
You know what I mean? So for me, but I don't look at it that long distance either.
Yeah.
I look at it today, this is what I got to get done. Tomorrow, I got to get this done. Friday, I got to get this done. So don't scale back to the point where you're looking at 6 months down the road. Like, if you're new to whatever it is you're going to be doing to try and better yourself, it's going to take time, and you're going to fall. You're going to have to pick yourself up. You're going to have to learn from that, make adjustments, do it again, fall again, but a little bit further down the road this time. Pick yourself up, learn from it, and just make little adjustments every day, And those are going to be the things that help kind of spring-load you into a new routine.
Yeah.
If, you start, you're going to, all right, I need to get back to walking every day. All right, well, start with 1 day a week. Can you do that? I know you can. That's a rhetorical question. So I already know the answer, but start with 1 day a week. Next week, you're going to do 2. The following week, you're going to do 3. Just make little agreements with yourself and try and hold yourself to them, Every week when you start on Sunday, make your list of stuff that you're going to do every day this week. No compromise, and make it something that's not, if you say, all right, I'm going to start Sunday, I'll do my list, and then Monday I'll start the activity for the week. Okay, well, if you put 7 million push-ups on Monday, probably not going to have a lot of success there.
I might make it to 6, not 7.
So my point is, make your goals realistic. If you look in the mirror and you don't look like David Goggins or Cam Hanes, don't sign up for a 100-mile race. You know what I mean? You're going to have to build your way up into those tougher tasks down the road.
No, I'm glad you put it that way, because the example for in my industry, we don't meet a buyer and we close the same day.
Correct. It takes time.
We meet a buyer, we interview, we get pre-approved, we go look at houses, we put an offer, we didn't get it, we fail. We go look at another one, we fail. We put one under contract, inspections can fail, and then 4 months later, boom, we party at closing day.
Yeah.
It's 4 months.
Yeah. And maybe the original house they were looking for wasn't the one they really wanted. Maybe that last one you finally showed them found the dream home that they really wanted.
The timing just wasn't right, but
so
we started over here.
But it's not always saying the first thing you start with is going to be the finish line. So I mean, there might be changes along the way.
So maybe to train myself, I have to schedule more vacation beach trips in the winter time. So it's summer, winter, it's all equal.
Yep. Well, I think we can work on that. We've still got a little bit of summer and fall to go. So we'll see how we make it through those 2 seasons before we get to the winter.
And it just feels good to feel good.
Yeah, it does.
I'm struggling with the scale at my house now. I'm gonna get personal, because I'm about to take this scale and just throw it out the window, because it's always within like the 2 pounds. Right now. But when I was doing the diet, when I was strict with my food, it was just kept going down, and like it was. But today it's like, God damn it, it's 191. But then I'm thinking back, I was like, it used to just say 204, 202, 204, 202. Now I'm like at 188, 191, 188, 191.
Yep.
So again, appreciate. I have to pat myself on the back of that work that I've done to get to this point. But here I am complaining at the same place I was here with these pounds. So it's like you said, don't focus on the scale so goddamn much.
So if you're hovering around 191 to 189 and you're not doing the diet, haven't been doing the walking or the morning workouts, so when you step on that scale, when you step on it, are you thinking in your head, what have I done today for this scale to show different?
No, I just exhale as much as weight as I can.
You expect
I exhale like, all right, let's exhale 5 pounds. So this gives me a number that I will be happy with that day.
Yeah.
And nope, it seems to be the first one. So it's like, I'm not doing the push-ups. They're not working. And then the cycle that it beats Stacy up, she's gaining muscle, so the scale goes up.
Yep.
But like the reason you keep all those muscles is the reason your fat is never on.
Yeah. The more muscle you have around your body parts, the more fat it burns around it. So if I've got a strong butt, I'm going to have less body fat around that, because maintaining that muscle is going to be burning fat around those areas. So if you're skipping leg days, guys, stop.
Build the muscle, and
days.
then and it takes time to train the body, all right? Because the body's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this is what we're doing. And that's why when the diets are so consistent, the weight just shreds, the fat just shreds.
Yep. So, first thing I tell everybody, you included, however often you're checking that scale, is it every day lately?
Yes.
Stop. Pick a day, whether that be Sunday, Friday, Tuesday, I don't care. Pick a day of the week, every day. And that's the only time you get on the scale. Get on there at the same time. I always recommend people, first thing in the morning, right after you do your business in the morning, get on the scale on that Friday, or whatever day you pick. So that way you're not, the only day you got to worry about that effing scale is on Sunday afternoons or Sunday mornings.
It could be Saturday before cheat day. Because then it'd be like, I don't want to cheat that much.
Well, and that's you pick whatever day you want. I don't care.
Well, I'm building that schedule
way,
now. Yeah.
You're not sitting here eating an apple, stepping on the scale, and then putting the apple down, stepping off the scale. You know what I mean? You've got too much other shit going on to be focused on how much an apple is going to make you weigh a half a pound more.
Yeah.
You've got other stuff more important to do than that, So, and then the other thing is if you're not doing the work to get the results that you want, you need to go back to the drawing board and decide how committed you are or how committed you need to get, So there's always today, guys. Don't think that you're counted out. Don't think that your back's against the wall. Mm-hmm. If you don't do it today, then start it tomorrow, but you got to start. You have to start.
And there's so many tools out there, especially with AI now, but just reach out to a person, reach out to a coach, reach out to a mentor, reach out to somebody that runs 12 miles a day, that has ran a couple marathons this year, has completely changed their lives. It was cool seeing the gentleman that just showed up today. He used to surf every day, and he grew up next door to where I grew up in California.
Yeah.
Now he's here training with Matt, so the story's freaking cool, but he's in his 60s, and he wants to get better.
Yeah, he's got a lot of wear and tear, 61 years old, that's a lot of miles. So if you haven't been taking care of yourself leading up to that point, which outside of surfing, he really wasn't doing much. It's one of those things that we're going to have to start with some basic stuff and just get him improving his quality of life, because right now he's got a really bad back, his hamstrings are super tight. Yeah. He's got shoulder and bicep issues, so we're working on range of motion. And again, just getting him back in the habit of doing outside things that he's not comfortable doing, and eventually those uncomfortable things will get more comfortable the more he comes back here, which is what I was telling him.
And that's what a coach does the coach at Downtown Fitness helps you out with. So
yeah, I do the best that I can, but just remember, guys, I'm just the guide. You're the ones that have to put in the work, so I'll help you in any way, shape, or form that I can. If we're talking about buying a home, this guy will do the same for you.
Real estate guide will keep you healthy on that end too.
Yeah.
Make sure it's successful in a couple months. It doesn't happen overnight.
Well, hey, let's say, for instance, you're looking for a house and a trainer. One-stop shop.
Oh my gosh, and a photographer.
And
some speech therapy and some insurance.
Yeah.
Welcome to McCarty Landing.
That's right.
Well, thank you for joining us in the studio. I think we're good.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Good. We didn't have a subject, but this is how we're just communicating now.
Yep, we're just chatting, seeing how everybody's doing, seeing how we're doing, checking in.
Start today. Let us know if you need help on our guiding where to start. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon.
Till next time. Peace out.
Don't be so perfect.